Good morning, ICRW. We are moving into the research paper project. And last week you were supposed to create a thesis statement and an outline for your research paper. Some of you decided to write the thesis at the top of the paper and then create an outline. Some of you put the thesis statement into the outline. Either of those is fine. What I want to talk to you about today is what is your assignment for the week? What does this kind of week-long chunk of the project look like? Basically, by the end of this week, your research paper should be about halfway written. So I'm going to show you how to get started on that. So let's say that we have up here, let's say we have our outline. So maybe Roman numeral 1, yeah, you can see that. Maybe that's my intro. Maybe you decided to put your thesis here. Maybe you decided to put some background information, context, what is your topic, what do the words mean, define some things for us. Maybe you have a section on, benefits. Maybe you have a section on causes, right? Everybody's outline is going to look a little bit different depending on their topic and what sorts of information they have. Maybe you have a section on the history, depending on what your topic is. And then perhaps you put a conclusion at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is to look at your outline and divide it into sections. So I want you to focus not on the intro or the conclusion, but I want you to look at all of the body of this outline. Okay, so for my little sample here, there were 3 Roman numerals here. Yours might have 6 or 5 or 4, whatever. What you're going to do is when you have this body of your outline, you're going to divide it into 3 sections. So for me, that's easy because there are 3 here. If you have 4 sections in the body, then you're going to have 2 Roman numerals together in one. So let's say I had a Roman numeral 5 here, and it was, environmental concerns. So then what I would do in this instance is I would say, all right, I know that I have the most information for this one, so it's going to stand alone, or this one, or whatever. But you're going to pick 2 that are going to go together because maybe those are the 2 that don't have as much information, and then you're going to pick 2 to stand alone. No matter how you have this organized, you need to divide this body section into 3 pieces. Even if there are 6 Roman numerals here, you're dividing it into 3 pieces. So I've got a section here. There's my first section, even though I know that's a Roman numeral 2. I've got a section here. That's my second section. And then I'm going to put these 2 together, and I'm going to call them my third section. What we're going to do is we're going to write this essay in chunks. So this week, I want you writing your rough draft portions for 2 of them. Next week, we'll do the last one, and then what we call your 4th section is actually your intro and conclusion. So we're going to do that last, okay? So we'll put parentheses around that and parentheses around that because we're going to hold off on the beginning and the end, and we're also putting parentheses around this section because we're going to wait until next week to write that part also. Now, you might remember that we briefly talked about how this paper was going to be somewhere between 4 to 6 pages. Because of our situation, we're going to err a little bit on the shorter side of that than the longer. But what that boils down to typically is about 1 page per section. So that would be like a page for this, a page for this, a page for this, and then a page for these 2 total. So that would come out to about 4 pages. If yours is a little bit less than that, it's not going to be a huge deal. And remember, we're talking about double space pages, not single space pages. So this week, we're going to write close to a page on my first chunk of this, whatever that looks like. and then close to a page on my second chunk of this. And if you get a little behind, that's okay. We'll get you caught up. But what I want you to know is that we're just getting started on some pieces of your outline. It's way less overwhelming to just do writing about one of these topics or chunks at a time. Now, typically, once we identify the pieces of our outline and we know how we're going to divide it up, we do these things called free writes. And so what I would do if we were in the classroom is I would say, all right, pick the section you're writing about, take 10 minutes and just write off the top of your head everything you know about that piece of your outline. And you can look at your outline and your A's and B's and 1s and 2s and whatever detail you put in there, but you wouldn't be looking at your research yet. You'd just be writing down what you know kind of that you've learned from your research. You would come up with about a paragraph of text. And then we would take that little paragraph of a free write and we would start looking at our research and adding that into what we wrote and polishing that up into a page of text where we have what we know and we have the research and we're incorporating it all together into a couple, 3 paragraphs. Because of where we're at with this, we're not going to assign the free writes as a separate assignment. What we're looking for is that you're writing this in 4 separate chunks. So we're going to call this the section 1 draft. That's going to be your first body chunk of your essay. Remember, we're not doing intro yet. And then we're going to call this your section 2 draft. That's like the next piece of your outline that you're writing about. So your assignment for this week, and that would be due, I think Friday is the 1st. Yeah, okay. So due May 1st, let's create a section here. Due May 1st is your section 1 draft and your section 2 draft. Okay, one more time. Due May 1st, let's zoom this in a little bit. Section 1 draft, section 2 draft. So what you're doing is you're writing close to a page here and close to a page here, and the topics are going to be the first chunk of the body of your outline and the second chunk of the body of your outline, right? So this is what we're calling section 1, section 2, section 3, and then the intro and the conclusion are going to make up what we're going to call section 4, but that's next week. Okay, if you have questions about this, please shoot me an email or comment in this section of Google Classroom. If you're still confused about your thesis and outline from last week, shoot me an email or comment on the assignment. I can't help you if I don't know what you need. All right, that's all she wrote. Later.